You laughing and we haven't even gotten started. What's wrong? What's wrong?
Good morning. Good morning.
Guys, listen, before we go live on the broadcast, always counts you down, right? And so it says literally 5-4. And as soon as I got to turn my device down, sorry about that. As soon as the thing said 5-4, your girl Cherie started going in already. I'm not leveling up.
We leveling up every day.
I know we leveling up, but do we have to sing the song every day? Okay.
That's right, Karen. Level up.
Good morning, guys. As you can see, we not firing at all cylinders. At least I ain't. I'm tired. We hung out last night with our grown kids. And for those of you all who are just jumping in the room, good morning, good morning, good morning. Eric Jones Jr. talking about level up, Auntie Cherie. Listen, I don't need you to encourage her, Eric Jones Jr. At all. So Be Live TV, we're being powered by Be Live TV. You'll notice the little icon swirling up to my, right here. Okay, so just make sure that when you see that, it doesn't freak you out. It's something that Be Live is doing new. I guess they want you to know that we're using their platform in order to broadcast live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. My name is Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author, a very tired speaker, and I'm also a coach sitting here next to the lovely light skin.
Leveling up, Cherie Brooks Jr.,
Wow.
Author, speaker, relationship, and life balance coach. And guys, I just want to say this. Okay, so I know the last couple of days you've been following us, you've been following me. I've been like turned up.
Turned.
So Ciara came up with this junk. This song, Level Up, is like giving me life. Okay,
Right.
It's like giving me life. So shout out to Ciara. I know you on the comeback. You just gave me life. Like I needed some energy, and just shout out to Ciara. You're a beast.
She is a monster. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Cherie had to give me the background on the song, y'all, because I was clearly clueless.
She coming for y'all. All y'all out there, she coming for y'all. That's all I'm saying.
And so how does that relate to us? Like we not gangsters, boo. So how we coming? Who we coming for? What are we coming for?
I'm coming for marriages. I'm coming for parents. I'm coming for y'all. Y'all need to level up.
I know that's
right.
Relationships. And in that regard, we are gangsters, no doubt. We coming for y'all. Listen, let me tell you, there's no reason on the planet why you need to be losing in your relationships. If you are, it's because you don't have a community. And if you don't have a community, that's because no one has bothered to teach you how to build one. So that's why we're here every single Saturday morning at 8 a.m. We're here to help you guys go to the next level, literally, in your relationships. And Cherie, today we're going to talk about some things that I think is really going to be particularly key. I can't believe I didn't put it in there. Karen, do me a favor. For those of you all who want to find out more about our Marriages and Parenting Successfully community, do me a favor and go to thecrcoach.com, www.thecrcoach.com. And that's where you can find out more about who we are, what we do, and how you can become a part of the Marriages and Parenting Successfully Relationship Academy. Tell them a little bit about that, babe, real quick, and then we're going to jump into today's lesson.
Right. So MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully Relationship Academy, is a community that we developed, I guess, a little over a year ago. Let me backtrack. Okay. We developed constant relationship coaching. Oh gosh. About 10 years ago, roughly.
Just regular coffee, brother. Just regular coffee.
And it was our effort to be able to create an environment where people could come to get support in their marriages, in their parenting, to be able to get some wise counsel, to be able to share what they're going through with other people who've been there, done that. And we decided about a year and a half ago to develop an online academy, which is an online community where we could bring people from all across the nation, all across the world, together in a room, in a virtual room, to share what they're going with, to give each other support, to be able to talk about the real issues. And we're able to give people tools to be able to help them deal with relationships, conflict resolution, parenting struggles.
All that.
We, unfortunately, because we've been married before, fortunately and unfortunately, because we've been married before, we know the things to do wrong. And so we've been able to be successful in our relationship. We've been together now. I'm married. We'll be 20 years in January. So we're able to share with people, what not to do, what's worked for us, has been able to help us to be successful in our relationship. We also are parents of adult children now.
Yeah, we hung out last night. If you check out our timeline, we turned up and had a chance to hang out with our absolute grown kids.
Right.
We love it.
And as Glenn likes to say, we know what it's like to have a child with a GED, and we also have a child who's getting ready to get a PhD.
Right.
So we've seen the gamut. We've had children on both spectrums. They're both extremely intelligent, very focused kids. Well, adults, I want to call them kids today. But we've been through the stuff that you go through as parents. And so we like to share what we've been through. We feel like we're obligated to share, the lessons that we've learned with others so that they can have the same level of success that we've had.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're talking about marriages and parenting successfully. It's actually our Relationship Academy. So if you want to know more about that, just simply go to www.thecrcoach.com. We meet several times throughout the week. On Tuesdays, we have two groups that meet. The parents, let's go with the couples, married and or dating. We meet with them every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then we meet with the couples an hour and a half later at 8:30. We meet with the parents at 8:30 so that we can help you guys navigate through that minefield of parenthood, right? Like, so whether they're grown or they're in school, they're adolescents, they're toddlers, we've been there, we've done that. The books that we've written together, we've written 7 books between the two of us, and they all kind of speak to those types of things. So if you guys want to be a part of that, go to thecrcoach.com. It's a private group. It's a group that people come in. We also do men. On Sundays, we meet with just men exclusively. And then I meet with men exclusively.
I'm not in the men's room.
Nah, it's all brothers. And we talking about grown men issues, and we deal with stuff, and we talk freely, and it's not a religious group. Trust me, it gets real up in there, and it's because we need accountability. We need community as well as men. And then of course the women, ladies meet every first and third
Thursday. We get together, and it is focused. It is a spiritual development room. We deal with you spiritually, with you holistic, with the whole woman, dealing with you being mentally, spiritually, and emotionally developed to be a successful individual. Yeah, absolutely. I believe that if you're not healthy as an individual, you can't be a good mother. You can't be a good wife. And so we 100%. Focus on you as women,
100%.
Dealing with women's issues, things that we just go through as women.
Absolutely.
And we get very transparent and deal with real stuff. It's not a place we don't man bash in that room, but we deal with the real issues.
Yeah. And the thing I love about it, guys, is that, and Cherie, this kind of brings us to a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. It is critically important if you want to grow in your relationship, if you want to grow in your parenting skills, you're going to have to get around people who are growing in that. You can't be around people who are talking about it and people who are just kind of hoping and wishing things get better. You got to be around people who are killing it and crushing it when it comes to successfully navigating those kinds of things. And so those groups provide that. And so we definitely want to talk about today. We're going to deal with a subject dealing with really how to keep your family together while you're trying to build a business or while you're trying to grow in the corporate structure. Or maybe you're climbing the corporate ladder and and many times you find this where you literally have one person who is super driven and they are absolutely hungry. They're getting after it every single day. They're waking up and they're going for their dreams and their goals, but they're married. And unfortunately, you may have a spouse who is lagging behind for all kinds of reasons. And you're struggling with, how do I keep growing without losing them? And I know what it's like to do that and lose an entire family because of my own drivenness. And so today I'm going to share with you guys 3 strategies, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, because I do know, and I'm very aware that we've got a lot of people who listen to Breakfast with the Brookses who are entrepreneurs, who are, driven business people, who are in ministry, and there may be ministry leaders, and they're building something along with building their family and their marriage relationships. And so because of that, oftentimes, Cherie, there becomes this great divide. Before we go to that, guys, just real quick, if you're catching us by replay, hopefully you're doing that on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com, the CR Coach, / the CR Coach. For those of you all who ever want to catch any and all of the Breakfast with the Brookses replays are all there. And so we want to make sure that you guys definitely, you definitely catch that. Karen said something I think is kind of important. Exactly. You have to be in a community where people are learning to grow in your area of relationships, parenting, and just life. And that's true, Karen. The reason why is because like begets like. And so I produce who I am.
Right.
And if I'm not around people who are producing after themselves and it's something that I want, I'll always miss out.
Right. You have to place yourself in an environment, in a culture, in a place that's going to foster where you're trying to go. If you stay around people that are going nowhere,
yep,
it's going to be hard for you to go somewhere.
Because right, absolutely.
So you want to put yourself in a place or in a space
yep.
with people that are going where you want to go or that are where you want to go.
Yeah.
So that they can help bring you along.
You know what? It's funny. And just real quick, for those of y'all who are just jumping on, good morning, LaFonda. How you doing? I don't know. Maybe this is your first time on our live. I appreciate having you.
Good morning.
Do me a favor, guys. Share this out. Carolyn Watson. Good morning. What is for breakfast?
Coffee right now.
Coffee is for breakfast until Cherie gets angry, and then we're going to have a problem. We're coming off of a 10-day detox, and so y'all, we're going to need some food up in our life, right? Good morning. We're going to have a green smoothie, but yes. we already had them for like 2 weeks, right?
It's okay.
Lord Jesus, help me, God. Y'all, good morning, Shanice. What's up? Y'all see the kind of abuse that I go through? Like, I'm just not winning over here, guys. I'm not winning. I'm just not winning. Y'all pray for me. I just want to let you know. The crcoach.com is where you can find out more people. I know that's right. Let's just be quiet. Shanice says she's leveling up. Right. So let me just stop complaining and just level up Glenn P. Brooks Jr. So speaking of the level up, guys, let me know and do me a favor. Give me a high five if you're ready for us to talk about the 3 things that you need to know in order to be able to not only build your business, but do it without losing your family. And when we say business, guys, don't just think of that as an entrepreneur in terms of, well, if I'm not an entrepreneur, this doesn't apply to me. The business could be your career, right? The business could be the project or the thing that you're passionate about, and you're finding yourself sort of pulled to that and distancing yourself from your family as a result.
Right. And the majority of our culture, you're building a business within a business. So you're working within a corporate structure. You're working within an organization.
Yeah.
But you're climbing that ladder. You're climbing that corporate ladder. You're trying to, better yourself.
Absolutely. If it's school, your business might be school right now.
Right. So you still are focused on something outside of your family. And that's what we're dealing with. Whatever that thing is that you're focused on, that, no different than, our kids go to school. They're in school 8 hours a day. That's where they spend.
That's their business. Absolutely.
So for you as an adult, as a parent, as a spouse, we're talking about that thing that takes up the majority of your time, whatever that is. And so that's the business we're talking about.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So a bunch of people have given us the high fives. Karen's given us a high five. Lacey is giving us a high five. Shanice is giving us a high five. And I just want to say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and get started, guys. Do me a favor. Write this down. We're not going to be forever this morning. But I had the opportunity to share in a group this past week. It was an incredible opportunity. A friend of mine who has a mastermind, and she's pretty dope. She's been on this show before. Her name's Jasmine Womack. She invited me to be a part of a mastermind that she teaches ladies, and she's actually a business coach in a lot of ways. And so she asked me to come on and talk about something that I'm passionate about, and it really is this idea of being able to keep your family intact while building a business. So 3 years ago, really quickly, Cherie and I started out on a journey when we came from from Atlanta to Hampton Roads. I decided that this would be a great time. And I brought this to Cherie before we left. I decided that this would be a great time for me to, for the first time, go full time in my business of coaching.
Right.
I had already started coaching. We started Constant Relationship Coaching back in 2012. I think it was a sole proprietorship. And before we launched Glenn P. Brooks Jr. LLC, before we launched what you guys know as to be MAPS and some of the different things, I'd already started writing books and had already started, speaking. And I was always doing it on the side. It was my side gig, if you will. When we moved here, babe, the opportunity presented itself that if I wanted to try it for the first time, my life was kind of lining up where I could actually make that jump and try and do it and make it work. And it was hard. because literally I didn't know what I was doing. And I still am learning a significant amount. I'm, obviously I'm much further along. We've had a tremendous amount of success, but the challenge was that I had to do that amid us continuing to grow as a family. And so that's always tough. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that we've had and the ways that we've navigated through that. And that's what I did with these ladies this past week on the call with Jasmine. And I was able to just kind of add some value to them. And so there are three strategies that you guys are going to need to know if you want to successfully be able to get your business or your career or your education jump started and growing, but not lose your family along the way. And I will say this last thing. I know what it's like to lose an entire family because of my drivenness, and it's not cool. It's not fun. It's not pleasant. And there's nothing cool about that. And that's this idea. And you say it all the time. When we met, I was a public success, but a private failure.
Right. You can be successful in your career and be excelling at work, excelling in your business, but your family is losing. There's a song, I can't remember who it's by. It's a Christian song. And he talks about how pretty much his wife is like, you've left me behind. You left me and the kids behind.
I know which one you're talking about. I can't think of it either.
Song, but that was one that hit home for me in that season. I can't remember when that song came out, but I remember hearing that one day when we were going through a really rough time of you. And I think this was when you were working in ministry full time. And I realized that, you were succeeding in this area. On the outside, everybody looking in, everything was great, but I was feeling left behind. I was feeling like I wasn't a part. I was feeling like we weren't connecting. We had lost that connection because you were so driven. And I think that oftentimes people look at you from the outside and they make this assumption that you're successful.
They do.
But
and they make the assumption that you're successful holistically, like in all the areas of your life. And they don't realize that generally you're most successful in the genius that you show up in.
Right.
It's the other parts of your life that a lot of times you don't see. And that's where people are failing. And you will build your whole life sometimes around people who are, quote, doing it, but they ain't really doing it in the areas that matter the most.
Right. And I think that oftentimes, because I work in, outside of the home, I work for the state government. And I work in an environment where people are excelling, people are, are growing in their career. But I've learned to be able to discern past that and can tell when, okay, they're doing fine in this area, but there's something not right. And if you use discernment and not that, I'm going to go up to everybody and be like, hey, are you okay? Is everything all right in your life? But I think oftentimes we get so caught up in the exterior that we forget about the person and what's really going on with them. And I think that, when it comes to careers and things like that, people can be so driven by that inside they may be hurting because they're missing, they're leaving.
They're not complete. They're not whole. And guys, let me say this. I don't care how passionate you are about what it is that God's designed you to do, called you to do, or birthed the desire for you to do. When you do it alone, that's a lonely road.
Right.
That's a difficult road. And the crazy thing is we'll justify the work or the distance that's happening between us and our family as, well, I'm just doing this for you guys. Like, y'all don't appreciate me. And why don't you guys support me? And you'll sort of cut and I'm saying we, because I'm including myself in that conversation. I was able to successfully compartmentalize that what I was doing was to your benefit, even though it was cutting you off.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. And then
that's crazy when you think about it.
Right. Then there's guilt that's placed on the other person or on the family members, because y'all not supporting me and what I'm doing, saying, I'm doing all this for y'all. Y'all wouldn't have this house. Y'all wouldn't have all this.
And that's a famous line for men.
The truth is, in relationships, most spouses, most children, they just want you there. They don't care about that stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying I want to live on the street, but I would rather have you here. Physically. Have you present than you to be gone. Than for you to be off gallivanting, saving the world or doing whatever.
Yeah.
And not being here for your family.
Jeff, listen, bro, let me say this, man. No judgment, my friend. That's why we're coming on and we're going to talk about these 3 different strategies, because I don't think it's too late for you to turn that around. Here's what I'm going to say last, guys, before we get into these 3 strategies. I know you guys have raised your hand and y'all sitting around with bated breath. I'm waiting for people to get in the room a little bit. And I do want to paint this picture and give you a background. This ain't easy. This is not something that we talk about from a place of judgment in terms of you're so bad and how dare you, shame on you. No.
Right, because we've been
This is not that conversation. This is the conversation that God gave you something divinely. He placed in you an idea. He placed in you a desire. He, quite frankly, fashioned you, right, to do certain things. And so oftentimes when we show up and we're attempting to pull those things off, we get out of balance. And when we get out of balance, here's what happens, guys. The people around us will lose. And the reason why is because the thing that you're going after, and I need y'all to hear me very clearly, is partly who you are. And you have to understand that. You're not going after pursuing a doctorate because it's fun. When I look at my daughter and she's pursuing a doctorate, I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, you already have 2 masters. Why put yourself through this agony and all? It's a whole different kind of learning and all that. It's because it's who she is inside. She has something that's pulling her to do that. Now, just like it's pulling her towards that, if she's not careful, it'll pull her away from her family.
Right.
And the question becomes, how do you balance the 2, right? You balance this major passion, but then you balance this awesome love that you have for these human beings that you're connected to.
Right. And it's funny that you mentioned her, because I can say, from, and this is totally unbiased, but just watching her and how she's been able to balance that. There was a season where her and her husband both were in school.
Yeah.
And they had small children.
Yeah.
And watching them be able to walk that balance has been amazing.
It's been extraordinary. And here's what I'm going to tell you, and guys, we're going to talk about that today. It is possible. The concern is most people don't have an example. Most people aren't pursuing balance like they're pursuing passion. Y'all can tweet that. If you pursue balance like you pursue passion, I promise you'll achieve balance. The problem is that we don't pursue it because somehow we think that it's unachievable or it's something that we cannot do.
Right. It reminds me of the statement people say, work now so you can play later.
Right. But
if you just work now, when you come back to play, you ain't gonna have nobody to play with.
You can be in the sandbox all by yourself. Cherie, that's a powerful statement. And I believe that statement. Don't get me wrong. Pay on
right, but it's a
work
balance.
On the front end, pay on the back,
but
or play on the back end.
But there's a balance. There has to be some play in there even while you're working.
It's gotta be, because if not, you are going to achieve what you set out to achieve.
Right.
But you also are going to lose what you didn't intend to lose.
Right. And that's like we always tell parents, you have children. You have children. Yes, that is your responsibility. You have to parent them. But if you're married, you have to focus on your marriage. Because if you get so caught up in just these kids and raising the kids and doing everything for the kids, when your kids leave the home at 18 to go to college and 20 and
that's
gone,
when the relationship,
you're
your
turn
marriage
around and look at this
unglued.
person and be like, who
Who are you and why are you in my house?
Because you haven't worked on your relationship in the midst of that. And so there has to be balance.
Absolutely.
Even in that.
Absolutely. So here we go, guys. The 3 things, and we're going to get out of here for the morning. I got a coaching call coming up right after this, so we got to get out of here. But number 1, you have to have buy-in. Number 1, I want y'all to put that down. You have to have buy-in in order to pull off the balance that we're talking about. John Maxwell, in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, talks about, and it's law number 14. It's called the law of the buy-in. I had the opportunity of meeting John years ago and getting particularly close to him and his staff. And I still have some pretty long relationships from that period of time in my life where I got a chance to see from behind the scenes them model this kind of leadership, and it's pretty extraordinary. When he talks about the law of the buy-in, guys, you have to understand that fundamentally people will buy into the leader, then they'll buy into the vision. So I think about when I came home after we got married. We got married in 1999. And approximately, if we got married in January of 99, we built our first home we moved in by August, I think it was, maybe, or April. It was like April, right? Mm-hmm. I want to say come August that following year, I do remember it was August because it was before the school year. I felt strongly that I was supposed to leave my career and go into full-time ministry. Felt real strongly about it. Mm-hmm. And what you have to understand, quick background, I'd already been a youth pastor for years. I'd already done all these different things. And I had an opportunity to go in and make a huge difference in a ministry that was just kind of getting started in some areas. And the thought came to me, well, maybe God's calling me to go into full-time ministry. And here's the challenge. I was making 6 figures at the time, right? And I knew when I left that job, I wasn't going to be making nearly that kind of money.
And let me paint the picture for you guys. He was making 6 figures. I was home. I had stopped working. He had told me I didn't have to work anymore.
Right. I could 9 months ago, or
because what happened? I was in a car.
She was in a car accident. She was recovering.
Like, you don't have to go back to work.
Take your time. You know, whenever.
Stay home.
Yeah, just
so
it's cool.
Susie homemaker
and enjoying it.
Home when
all of that.
Kids come home from school, baking cookies. I got all this in my mind. This is what's going to happen. So, but when he came,
when baby switch, it's terrible.
But when he came home and shared with me the idea, you know, that he felt like God was leading him in this direction. Because I knew who he was, because I believed in him, I was able to co-sign on it. I was able to say, okay, I'm willing to do this. I'll go back to work. I'll do what I got to do. We'll do this together. Mm-hmm. I think what happens a lot of times is that, you know, one party will say, and I'll give an example. I'll throw myself on the sword.
Not under the bus. She is laying on the pavement, guys. So
years later, I had an idea. I wanted to go and become a realtor. Mm-hmm. I went to real estate school. He knew I was going to go to real estate school. We talked about that. I was like, cool, you do it part-time. That's fine. You can do that on the side.
Right.
Then one day, after I got my license, realized the business wasn't really picking up the way I wanted to.
Right. Like it was right before the housing boom burst.
I was like, well, you know, if I could do this full time,
yeah,
I could really do this.
And we could make a whole lot of money.
Make a whole lot, because I'm seeing some friends of mine, they like doing it and they making all this money. And so I come home one day, I was like, hey, I quit my job today because I'm gonna do real estate full time.
Guys, there was no buy-in. I want y'all to hear the parallel. Look, Cherie, and I'm going to quickly move past that because I just had a feeling that came up of just because we went through some changes behind that. Y'all have to understand, my wife came home and without any warning told me that she had just quit her job. This is after, way after I had decided, I mean, we were probably 2-3 years into me in full-time ministry.
It was longer than that.
It was way long. It was longer than that.
This was the year before we moved to Atlanta.
So we had to have been 4 or 5 years into me stepping down, having taken a 70% pay cut, of which I got buy-in and permission.
And I was the primary, at that point in time,
at that point,
I was the primary.
Cherie was the primary breadwinner because I took a 70% pay cut. The breadwinner decides to quit her job.
Because I want to pursue my passion. You're pursuing yours.
You're pursuing yours. Then I should be able to pursue mine. I'm like, yo. Hey, wait a minute. Hold up. Time out, bro. Like, we haven't had a conversation about this. Are you serious right now?
So
I was so angry, guys. It was probably one of the times and I can tell you, now that I'm thinking about, that was one of the times where I strongly said, you know what, we might not need to be married. Because at this point, this is crazy. Like, I felt betrayed wasn't the word. This was ridiculous because the carpet literally snatched from underneath of me. And I'm thinking to myself, she is tripping. Like, what is she smoking? This is crazy. So I say all that to say, Cherie, it's a great example. I forgot all about that until you just said it, literally. So I'm trying to talk myself off the ledge, guys.
Come off the ledge.
Come off the ledge. It's okay. It's okay. It's a different time. It's a different time. Can we hug it out again? Yes. Just hug it out again. Thank you. Excuse me, guys. We were having a moment. So listen, guys. Here's the deal. So Cherie didn't have buy-in, and it produced an issue. I, on the other hand, had buy-in, and it produced no issue. Now we had to grow through that. And
Right.
this ain't this conversation. Trust me, even after I got the buy-in, it's not that we didn't struggle. We did.
Right.
But it was with agreement.
Right.
There's a difference when you struggle and you have an agreement that you're going to have to struggle.
Right.
Your exact words were, I believe in you. I think this is what God is calling you to do. This is going to hurt financially for us to go this route. But if we have to eat oodles of noodles, ramen noodles, then I'm down. I'm ready to make this journey with you on this idea of you going into ministry. Right. So that means you have buy-in, fellas, when your wife says that. And again, you know, we went on 2 honeymoons. We had built a new home. And the Lawn guys are here, and they would be here on Breakfast with the Brookses guys.
It's okay.
It's okay. So y'all will just have to I may have to ask them to move because this is ridiculous. Can you do me a favor? Can you ask them to go to the meeting? Okay. Anyway, can y'all push past that?
Can y'all hear that?
Can y'all hear us okay? That's all I'm asking. If
Give
you
us
can,
a thumbs up
if you can hear us okay, and we can put up with that for a second. It's a little loud, but we're gonna figure it out. But I want to keep going through this. So what I want you, okay, so he's moving on a little bit. Okay, great. Thanks,
Okay.
Lacey. So we're gonna keep on moving. So just lean into this a little bit more. And so listen, guys, my point is that I had buy-in, she did not. It caused a rift when we didn't have buy-in with you.
Right.
That didn't need to be. And so many times, guys, what's going on is that you guys are creating your own drama. I want you to put that in the chat. Creating my own drama. I'm creating my own drama. And that's unnecessary. So when you are trying to build a business, when you are trying to grow in your next thing, your career, your passion, whatever that is, you have to listen to me very carefully. You have to eliminate the sidebars and the drama stuff that you can control. And one of the things is not making decisions without communicating and getting the buy-in of the people that you're going to ultimately drag through this stuff later on. Does that make sense, guys? And so I just want you guys to understand that. Oh yeah, they're doing
right. And I think that the key is that you have to be in agreement.
Yes.
Whatever direction your family is going to go in, whatever direction. So whether it's I'm going to go back to school and pursue my degree, whether it's, you know, you're on this career path that you want to, you know, go into upper management, your family has to be in agreement with that because it's going to take a level of sacrifice for you to do that. And so I think that, you know, whether it's starting your own business, whether it's, you know, building a brand, whatever it is, you have to have agreement in order for you to be able to go to do that successfully. Now you're going to go through your challenges. You're going to have ups and downs in that process. You know, even like when I was in agreement with Glenn going into ministry full time, but I had no idea what that really meant until we got into it, you know, the true level of sacrifice. But because I was in agreement with it initially, it made it a lot easier going through those ups and downs because I had to remind myself, okay, I agreed to this. No, this isn't what I thought it was going to be necessarily, but I believe in him and I believe that this is what he's supposed to do. So that made it easier when we did go through those ups and downs because I agreed to it.
Absolutely.
Now that doesn't mean, you know,
that I
want to side, right. It doesn't mean that I liked it. And it doesn't mean sometimes you have to say, okay, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. We need to make some adjustments.
Absolutely.
But even that's a conversation you guys have to have.
And guys, listen, when you have buy-in, I promise you there are bumps in the road that you avoid. There's some of you all who have a solid relationship. The relationship is good. But because you make decisions like that to take your whole family, and I understand it actually comes from a good place. The problem is what you're doing is, imagine, if you will, you're going down a road and you don't see that there is a utility truck working on a gas main that's broken maybe 3 blocks up the road. You're going down this road, but then you decide to make an adjustment, and instead of making the left, you stay straight. You know that you're supposed to make this left, but you stay straight. Now, your spouse may know that they were just some signs up earlier that said they're going to be working in that area. Well, if that person doesn't communicate to you that way, you'll find yourself going towards trouble unnecessarily. So what we're saying is buy-in, and the secret to it really is getting getting your communication up to the point to where you're not willing to make what we call knee-jerk reactions and just make that really, quite frankly, wind up becoming lifelong decisions in a moment. And then before you know it, you got drama that you really did not need to have. So we're talking about, for those of you all who are just jumping on, I asked the guys to move to the other part of the yard, so we should be good. 3 ways to building a business without losing your family. And we're not just talking about business in terms of entrepreneurship. We're talking about the business of you, the business of your passion, the business of what you're called to do. That could be you getting your next degree. That could be you taking on a promotion, quite frankly, that's good because of money, but it's going to be bad because of the level of responsibility.
Right.
So now you're the director of the whole place as opposed to one department, and you accepting that a promotion puts your family in a place where, quite frankly, if you're not careful, you can begin distancing yourself from them because of the requirement and the different things you're being held responsible to. Does that make sense, babe?
Right.
So let's move on to the next one. So we said, number 1, you have to get buy-in. Number 2, you're going to have to put up boundaries, guys. You're going to have to. And Cherie, when we're talking about boundaries, people who have been with us for any length of time understand that, and we talk about boundaries a lot in relationships. And guys, boundaries by definition simply is a property line. It's the demarcation of where your stuff starts and another one begins. Right now, we got the guys out and they're doing the lawn care and all that kind of stuff. And I stepped out and asked them, could you guys do me a favor and work on this part of the place and not that part of the place so that we can hear a little bit better on this live broadcast. I'm putting up a boundary, and they were able to respect the boundary because at this particular point that there's a problem, and boundaries, Cherie, are designed to do 2 things.
Right. To protect and to
provide. It's written right there. Just in case. No, it's okay. To protect and provide. And so when I'm talking about in this particular area, guys, we're talking about protecting the vision that's in your heart, because sometimes the vision that's in your heart isn't the vision in mine.
Right.
You wanted to go pursue real estate, but what you really wanted was to pursue something you were passionate about. It didn't necessarily have to be real estate.
Right.
And it didn't necessarily have to be right then. Right? No. We know that in retrospect. God bless America. If y'all heard the beginning of that story, if you didn't, you need to go back and look at the replay. Right. But what we were able to do, what I was able to do after that is we began instituting boundaries, and we had a rule that says no life-changing decisions without getting the buy-in of the other person. Now, notice I didn't say without talking to the other person about it. Because that was the other thing. You were able to say, I told you what I was thinking about. I told you that. And I'm like, shorty, are you serious right now? Like, you didn't have my body. You didn't have, because if that was
talked about it.
And I'm like, man, I was livid. So
I told you I was going to quit my job.
So we said it boundaries protect the vision. I don't even want to talk about that. No, it's okay. You can kiss me. I do forgive you again. God bless you. It's just terrible. I was traumatized, guys. That was bad. So, but look, boundaries protect and they provide. So we said protect the vision and they provide direction.
Right.
Boundaries provide direction.
Right. Boundaries help you to be able to set, okay, so this is what you want to pursue. Okay, that's fine. But these are the boundaries. That means you have to be able to, you got to allocate time for the family. So you're going to be able to protect what it is that you're trying to pursue. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get the freedom to do that. But also in you getting the freedom to do that, you also have to provide your family something in return.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. Say that again. You have to provide your family.
You get to protect the vision and the passion that you want to pursue. You're able to protect that. But in that, you also have to be able to provide for your family.
Mm. And what they need.
So it's a give and take. It's like, okay, we're going to put up boundaries that, okay, if you're going to say you want to accept a position that's going to cause you to have more responsibility at work, that's fine. Okay, so you're going to work 10-hour days.
Yeah.
So that means that on the weekend, you have to protect that time on the weekend, but that's family time.
So
we're not going to see you during the week.
So let me say it this way, and this is how it works in my world. I'm going to work 10 hours a day as opposed to 8 hours a day because of this new position. But what I am going to do now is I may give up my golf on Saturday mornings to spend time with the family.
Right.
I can't have all of it.
Right. Right.
Does that make sense, guys? So literally there's this compromise that's going. And I ain't messing with y'all. Y'all are having a whole nother conversation in the chat. I'm not talking to you guys. So we're going to stay focused. So anyway, because I'm laughing at their banter.
Right.
But no, the deal is, guys, no, literally that helped me to understand, because there was times where I wanted to do the extra work during the week and still go out, and I was cycling at the time, and I wanted to ride for 4 hours on my bicycle.
6 hours.
I'm sorry. You see how I'm you know, I don't even remember the real deal. She's like, nah, let me just, or I wanted to go play around the golf.
6 hours.
It's really supposed to take 4, but the 5 at the most. But the course was crowded that day, babe. We couldn't just keep our game going.
And then we were in church all day Sunday. So Sunday was like a wrap.
So at this particular point, guys, what happens? The family becomes divided. And now the person who's pursuing their passion is justifying that they're doing that for y'all when they're not. That's not true. They're doing that for them.
And so you have to institute boundaries to say, okay, I'm bought into what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You got my buy-in. But in your doing that, let's set some boundaries here, because this does not mean now you're 24/7, 7 days of 24/7 working on your passion or focus on you and what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
And we get crumbs.
Absolutely. And that's not acceptable. Right. Crumbs is not acceptable. Put that in the chat. Crumbs is not acceptable. Put that in the chat. Crumbs is not acceptable. Or you can just say no crumbs.
No crumbs.
No
Hashtag no crumbs.
Hashtag no crumbs. Put that in the chat. I ain't moving until somebody puts that in the chat. Hashtag no crumbs. In the meantime, I'm going to go up. Karen said, yeah, you got to protect the vision and the passion that you want to pursue, but you have to protect your family in doing so. I need somebody to put hashtag no crumbs, because people are not being nice. It's not fair. I don't think it's fair for me to have a passion that drives me to lose you.
Right.
That the ultimate goal, in other words, I married you 19 years ago. And unless unless you married me and I'm already on the road and I'm heavy into what I'm doing, I don't get to introduce that to you later and expect you just to understand.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And that still doesn't mean that I don't have boundaries. But the truth of the matter is that that's not fair. That's what I'm talking about, LaFonda. LaFonda said, no, hashtag no crumbs. I know that's right. So that's right. Nikita said crumbs are not acceptable. That's right. That's right. That's right, guys. This is the no crumb zone. Sidna said hashtag no crumbs. Karen says hashtag no crumbs. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's go to number 3. If y'all ready for number 3, come on, talk to me. Tell me number 3. Give me number 3. Put number 3 in the chat. Guys, listen, if you're just joining us, please make sure. No, we're not going to sing level up. I didn't say 5, 4, 3. I said number 3 in the chat. Number 3 in the chat. I'm not talking. Please don't get her started, y'all. Don't get her started. We're talking. God bless America. We're talking about 3 ways to building a business without losing your family. It is highly possible. Number 1, we said you have to have buy-in. Number 2, we said you must institute healthy boundaries. And then everybody is chiming in and they say they want number 3, number 3, number 3. Okay, I got you. And so number 3 literally is you have to have balance. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about that before earlier, but I want to break that down on another level. 3 years ago, we moved from Atlanta to Hampton Roads, VA. And we decided that we did that because at this particular point, don't look at the chat. Don't look at that. Look at me. Look at me. No looking at the chat, because your sister's about to get you in trouble. Babe, we got to focus, because I got a coaching appointment after this. Balance. Okay, so listen, guys, listen. So the deal is, and y'all stop sizing her up. Stop it. It's not nice. You're just getting her all excited, right? Balance. Thank you, Sidna. The truth of the matter is that hashtag, we got to have some balance up in here. And when we moved from Atlanta to here, we moved into a very different scenario, because we came here specifically, guys, because of illnesses that were being just kind of launched in our family. It was first my mother-in-law, then my father-in-law, then our son. And it just was apparent that we needed to move. So when we came here, we agreed on a couple of things. And I want you to understand, in order for you to be able to strike a balance, you're going to have to, number one, and I don't have this to put it up in the chat, but I want you to say this, you're going to have to keep the main thing the main thing. Right. How do you achieve balance? By focusing on what is the main thing.
Right. What's your priority?
Put that in the chat, priority. Guys, listen to me very carefully. When we began to go through challenges, once we moved to the Hampton Roads area, and I say challenges like I may have a desire to do A, and Cherie is saying, but this weekend we need to do B because so-and-so needs us to do thus and such. I want to get upset because at this particular point, I don't want to do that. But the truth of the matter is we moved here for that.
Right.
That was why we moved here. Mm-hmm. In other words, the main thing, I didn't leave Atlanta because I decided that I have, you know what, let's just start throwing darts on a board and let's just pick some place to move. That wasn't the goal. Right. You didn't move here for that in that regard. Now, you wanted to be closer to your family anyway. That was always the case. 9 years we lived in Atlanta. You had a desire to kind of figure out a way for you to be closer to your family. But we wasn't moving on that. Right. Does that make sense? Right. The truth of the matter is that when this situation happened, babe, we literally came to the place where we said, no, all bets are off. We got to get back up north, and this is what we're going to do. And so I have to constantly tell myself, in order for me to achieve balance, I have to keep the main thing the main thing. I have to remember what is the priority. And when I think about that, the priority was the community for my family. Okay?
Sorry.
It's okay. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. So number two in that same balance piece is that you have to know your why. When I say know your why, Cherie, what am I really trying to get across?
You have to know and it lines up with knowing your priority. It's knowing what the purpose, your why has to be bigger than what you're doing. And so for
please
us,
say that again.
Your why has to be bigger than what you're doing. And so the why is, what is the reason? What is the ultimate, what's the motivator in you doing what you're doing? If you're pursuing this career, if you're trying to build a business because you want your family to be financially independent, that's the why. The why is that you want to position your family.
Yeah.
The why is the betterment of your family.
So if
you lose sight of that, you're doing this for your family and you're so caught up in doing, but you're not considering your family in the process, you've lost sight of your why, because now you're focused on money. You're focused on the accolades. You're focused on, everything else, and you're not focused on your family. Because if that was your motivation initially for you to do this, if I'm going back to school because I want to position myself better so that I can provide better for my family, so my family doesn't have to, can be in a better position, so I can be an example to my children. But I lose sight of that, and I'm so caught up. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm in here studying, and I'm not spending time with my family. I've disconnected.
And here's the problem, guys. You'll get the degree, but you'll lose your family.
Right.
You'll get the degree because you literally focused on that. Mm-hmm. But when you get up come graduation, when you walk across the stage, guess who's going to be in the audience?
Right.
Nobody. Or guess who's going to be in the audience mad? And your justification is, well, I did this for y'all. Why y'all mad? Now we can. Well, guess what? Now at this point, they don't like you.
Right.
And so you got to go back and do work on building the relationship of which you was trying to provide for in the beginning.
Right.
So what we're saying is that be self-aware and strike that balance throughout the process. That's why you have to become journey-minded, and that's number 3, as opposed to destination-minded. Mm-hmm. I want you to put that in the chat. Journey-minded versus destination-minded. And yeah, LaFonda, you're right. Or they'll come, but they'll come out of obligation. And that sucks.
Right.
That sucks. Like nobody wants to come out of obligation. And listen, you're walking across the stage, they're cheering, but all the way, they don't like you. And they're there only because you mom, and I'm just kind of obligated to do so. That stinks. That's a terrible, terrible way of, I don't want to have a day of celebration and the people are there at my party because they're obligated to be there.
Right.
That's not a party.
Right.
That's terrible.
Mm. And just to go back to being journey minded instead of destination minded means enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Don't be so focused on where you're going that you're not in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Where you are today.
Absolutely. And sometimes that means that you may have to take a semester off. Sometimes that means you may have to drop a class. Sometimes, okay, it's going to take you now 6 years or 7 years. I know people who've taken 12 years to get a 4-year degree.
Right. And sometimes
but they got their family.
Right. Sometimes that means I can't go to this conference, or I can't do this event. I can't do this because, Johnny has an award ceremony. So I'm not going to this event because I'm going to be there for my child.
Absolutely.
Or, we were planning to go away for the weekend, but this event came up. I'm not going to the event. I'm going to still spend time with my family.
Absolutely.
So it's making choices because you got to live in the moment. You have to be in the moment. You can't be so focused on where you're trying to go that you forget to live where you are.
Oh, can't be so focused on where you're going that you forget to live where you are. Because here's what I'm going to add to that, Cherie. What happens if life ends where you are? Mm-hmm. What happens if you never actually achieve the goal and life ends where you are? Life ends your second year into the 4-year degree. Life ends your 3rd year into the 5-year PhD. Life ends into you really have an aspiration to have a business that's just thriving, but life ends in you promoting that you're going to have a grand opening. Like life ends before the store opens. Life ends before the book is written. Life ends. What happens then? Here's what happens. You're going to have a family sitting at your funeral. Pissed off. And now they're pissed off for several reasons. They're pissed off, one, because they miss you and you didn't have to die so soon. But they're also pissed off that they didn't get to know you or they didn't get to enjoy you during your journey. And now they're obligated to show up to your funeral. Mm-hmm. That sucks. And it's not fair. Yep, I said it. That sucks and it's not fair. And I think that, and I'm talking to me, guys, I did that kind of craziness. Now, God graced me with life that it didn't end for me in the middle of that process. And I got the opportunity to have a second chance at doing this. Cherie, you're my do-over when it comes to marriage, because I screwed it up for 12 years the first time around. Shantae is my do-over when it comes to raising a child, because I didn't get to raise Justin until he was 12. Our grandkids are our do-overs because you and I weren't as present mentally in their childhood. So now we get to be present mentally in their childhood.
Right.
Guys, this is all a do-over. So thank you, Lacey. That's exactly what do-over means.
Grace.
It's grace. And I need y'all to understand that. Absolutely, Jeff. I get it, bro. We all in the same bag. Listen, guys, that's why I say hashtag we all need some help. That's not just a hashtag. That's a real situation. That's a live comment. Like, I'm really believe that we all need some help, y'all, because life, this culture, everything can get us so freaking caught up that we forget to keep the main thing, the daggone main thing. I'm saying stop it. Just stop it. Because at the end of the day, here's what I'm going to promise you guys. It is possible for you to build your business. It is possible for you to build your career. It is possible for you to build your school, your desires, your passion to pursue. That's highly possible. And it's possible to do that without losing your family.
Correct. It can be done. It can be done, but it takes balance. It takes having boundaries, and it takes getting buy-in.
Absolutely.
You have to get buy-in.
Go ahead.
Establish healthy boundaries.
Yep.
And have balance.
We have to.
You can do those 3 things. You can be successful, a private and a public success all at the same time.
I like that. I like that, guys. So listen, I appreciate that. Karen said, I needed this. Amen. I'm glad you, thank you for this message. Karen said, I needed this. LaFonda said, hashtag the process. Hashtag the process isn't always easy. There's work to do. I know that's right. I know that's right, guys. Listen, I just want you guys to understand as we wrap up today's topic that buy-in, boundaries, balance, it's all needed if you're going to make the journey towards building anything while you're still in the family. See, here's the deal, guys, and I'll leave y'all with this. At the end of the day, truth. You're not by yourself no more. You are responsible to others and for some and to others. And the truth of the matter is that you have to consider them if you're going to make this journey successful. And every day I have to remind myself, consider your wife. Every day I have to remind myself, still, that hasn't changed. I have to remind myself, last night, hanging out with our kids was about considering them, considering that we may not have this time tomorrow. And let's go now, because I can always find some more work to do. Trust me, not short on that department. We can ready to launch a mastermind in September. I'm super excited about it. For those of you all who are super passionate about adding value to marriages and parenting, because you've been through the drama, you've been through the pain, you've been through all that, and you have come out on the other side. There's something that you're doing that's working, and you would love to be able to do that for other people and potentially earn a living doing it. I got a mastermind class and I'm starting in September that I'm going to help you be able to do that. If you want to be a part of that, just let me know in the comments. Just say, hey, I'm in. Just put I'm in. I'll send you some information. But the truth of the matter is I'm not about to let that become such a driving force that when my daughter and my son-in-law say, hey, would you guys like to go out to eat? Or when my wife says, what do you think about maybe hanging out with the kids tonight, that I can't leave that stuff aside and then go say yes. Because what if it ends tomorrow? What if September 15th never comes for me?
Right.
And I never get to launch this new thing that I'm so passionate about. But then they realize that, you know what, I just, hey, I'm sitting here out of obligation. I'm mad with Dad because he would not take time.
Right.
So not going to have that happen, guys. I know this was a little bit kind of a deep thing, but I want to end you guys on this note. Okay, Karen says, I'm in. Love it, Karen. Love it. We'll definitely send you guys some information if you want to be a part of that. But guys, listen to me very carefully. You can absolutely win on all fronts. You just have to do it on purpose. If you get a chance, please go over, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com. And I promise you, we'll love on you and we'll send you some stuff. And we're always updating some great things there, not just Breakfast with the Brookses, but other stuff. Guys, I just want to let y'all know that at the end of the day, hashtag we all need some help. Y'all be good. Let's talk soon. And we'll just keep striving for balance, guys.
Level up.
Oh, Lord Jesus. There she go again, y'all, with the level up. Look, I'm going to level up and I'm going to go ahead and take this 5-minute break before I jump on this coaching call.
Y'all have a great Saturday.
Y'all be good.